program, graduate high school, and play at the college level. And I think last year there was around 40 players that graduating seniors that went on to play at the collegiate level. So it's great. I mean, that's the reason that I'm involved, and that's the reason that that so many of us, and that's what we enjoy the most, and what we're proud of is when you as players or your as parents, your kids graduate and get to go and experience that. So we want to try to provide that level and as many opportunities as we can for all of our players. Through the process, what we've realized is that coaches who might know Dan will contact Dan. He'll have a conversation and maybe about the same player. Somebody doesn't know Dan, but they might know Andy, and they contact Andy, or they shoot an email directly to the player. And so we've got a lot of different people that are advocates for our players, but getting that information together and then relaying it to parents and to players is difficult, and sometimes some of the information is lost in that process. So the big thing for us from a coaching staff was finding a tool that allowed us to get everything together and provide you as a parent and player the opportunity to research schools and get some basic info, basic knowledge of what you're looking for before you actually have to meet with coaches within our staff or ask for advice. It gives you a little bit of a jump start. So we're really excited about the program. I want to thank Dan Delzacchio, who's our U13 through 19 director, who's spent some time on this. Andy Richards, who has gone back and forth with Greg quite a few times and helped set up this meeting. And we're defining his role as a college recruitment coordinator. Exactly. He's defining his role in a different way, apparently. So we're working through that. But Dan's has been in the college game at Santa Clara in Michigan. Andy's been at Bowling Green in Oregon State. So they have a lot of experience. So together with the three of us, we're trying to help meet with as many families as we can and get this process rolling. So enough for me. We'll get Greg going so he can give you the program. Greg Allen is the owner of College Fit Finder, a former youth player, college coach, and so he's been in all the different positions through this process. So has a wealth of knowledge, and we're really excited and happy to have him. He flew in on the red eye from California to spend the evening with us. So he'll go through his process, and then by all means, if you have questions afterwards, please let him know. Thanks, Ray.
I will try not to fall asleep in my own presentation. Yet I was a player. I was a college coach. I know I look like I'm 12, but I actually was. And going through the process, originally I'm from Las Vegas, so it makes me very good at my job because there's one school in the entire state of Nevada that plays men's soccer, and it's UNLV. And if they don't want you, then you get used to the idea you're not going to play in college. And it was just completely unacceptable to me. So being a player in this process that has to shout from the rooftops, come watch me play, developing a relationship with college coaches, it's something that's forgotten in this process. So looking back on what I went through, like I mentioned, I played in college, coached in college, coached high-level club. So understanding what families need, directors need, managers need, teams need, clubs need, building it into a program that will help to save you guys so much time. I think that the email that was sent out, this is actually taken care of by the club, so this isn't a sales pitch as we go through this tonight. I know this is one of the reasons why you play for a club like the Jaguars, and they're being progressive in trying to make sure they invest in your future, and that's why you're here. So I definitely applaud them for looking in this direction for you guys. But before I even begin, this is just technology. So they're doing this, you got to use it. You have to use it. We'll walk through all the functionality, how it's going to save you time, how it's going to make you more efficient. But players, if this is important to you, you have to be on this program. Talking with the coaches on staff that, being involved with a club that you're going to be asking help from these coaches on staff, they'll be able to monitor you, they'll be able to see what you're up to. So the days of, yeah, mom, yeah, dad, yeah, coach, I'm doing this, they're done. They're over. So they can see. So I'm going to go through this, and then we'll get to some quick questions afterwards. But if you have any questions, technical questions, customer service questions, my card's up there. Please don't contact the coaches. We will help you out ASAP. So I'm going to dive into this. Number one, as a player, First thing, base building block is what schools I should be researching and why. So where do you want to go play in college? Go. What school? What school? What school do you want to play at?
Grand Valley.
Now, just name it Grand Valley, Grand Valley? Just because she said Grand Valley? All right. No? Well, normally, it's usually, I want to play at UCLA, I want to play at Notre Dame, I want to play at Stanford. Well, what's your GPA? Well, it's a 3.2. Can't play at Stanford. Oh, the last time I did a presentation last week, first girl said Oregon. I said, do they have your major? I don't know. Well, why are you looking at Oregon? So, I mean, that's a normal, typical question about what it's like to go through this process of 15, 16, 17-year-old. We hear of schools. You know Grand Valley? Is it Grand Valley? Why do you know Grand Valley? It's in our backyard?
Sure.
Okay, I mean, that's why we know it. But going through the process, researching schools that you've never heard of, uncovering those rocks, so important. So this is what players and families you have direct access to. Every account's already been created for you. The email's gone out. I've seen that some players have logged in. And you can change your password, just let us know and we'll take care of that if you just reference that email. So if I have a 3.8 GPA, on the bottom of that left-hand column, if I click go, you'll see everything recalculates on the main screen. And this particular account is a men's soccer account. This is every men's soccer school in the country, D1, 2, 3, and NAIAs. So everything recalculates to a 3.8 GPA. Black stars are how good the specific team is based on their wins and loss record of the last few years. Really important stuff because as we're trying to find things that are a good fit academically, we're also soccer players. We want to know, is this a good team I'm going to play for? What do I know what I'm getting into? You have a conversation with your coaches, you sit down with them, you say, you know, we kind of tag you in we see you in the D2, D3 world. If they say that to you, look back at them with a smile on your face and say thank you. Nobody did that for me. I was talking with 55 colleges because I had to. And it gets crazy out there. So if you can have a nice target-rich environment, those comments doesn't mean that you can't play D1. Doesn't mean that they're killing your dreams, but you're asking a question. I would definitely recommend that you do this. Talk to your coaches about where you fit in. That's why we keep track of this specific information. Let's say that I wanted to go play Division, let's just say 3 ball, for the time being. I hit go. Now I'm only looking at Division 3 schools. The orange stars here actually tell you how good of a fit this school is for you based on the information that you've provided in the program. So right now we're only looking at a 3.8 in Division 3s, but if we go down to, let's say, the 7th page here, it's telling you as you get further and further away from the information that you've provided in the program, it's saying this may not be a good fit for you. An example would be if you have a 3.0 GPA, Harvard would show, don't go to Harvard. Don't go to Harvard, not going to work out. It's telling you don't waste your time. Okay? On the reverse, whether if you have a high GPA and a typical student getting into that institution has a lower GPA, it's not telling you that you can't go there. Maybe you get a lot of academic money to go to that school if that's what the family is looking for. It's just helping you to find a target-rich environment. Okay? Let's say I wanted to look at schools at the Division 3 level that are big-time soccer programs, maybe one that's going to win the national championship. Now, on the girls' side, where I guess we're working with girls right now, like Messiah. Who's heard of Messiah? Exactly. Okay, so if I have a 3.8, I'm looking for a D3 school, and I want to go play for a team that maybe wins the national championship. On the boys' side, which is that's this account, they've won 8 of the last 10 national championships. The year that I came out of school, actually the year before I came out of school, they had more kids go play in the MLS than any Division I team in the entire country, including the reserve squads on those MLS teams. So it's impressive. It's impressive to watch teams like that. When I played a semi-pro ball in the summers, I was a D3 athlete. I played at Cal Lutheran. I went back home, played for the Strikers in Las Vegas. It was the entire UNLV roster. But I was a Division III player. I started on their team. We played against a team called the Utah Salt Rats. I don't know why they were called the Utah Salt Rats. Terrible name. And it was the entire roster of my rival school at Cal Lutheran. I knew every single kid. They stepped off the bus and I said, why are they here? So it's a D1 squad playing a D3 squad, and we lost 5-0. So finding pockets of schools out there, again, that you've never heard of, Very important when you're trying to research what is truly a good fit for you. So Amherst, who's heard of Amherst? A few more. Brandeis, Swarthmore. These are brilliant educations. Better educations than the UCLA. But nobody's ever heard of those schools. So on the girls' side, a couple years ago, Emory. Who's heard of Emory? So now we have a few more hands go up. Emory went to the national championship game, and it was at the time the 20th best education in the country. So basically, Ivy League type education. Who doesn't want to send their kid to go get an Ivy League education, go to the national championship game? I do. I want that for my kids. So that's the way that we should be looking at this program. You can continue to filter this based, let's say, I want to go to the Midwest, and I want to look at, I want to be an architecture major. I hit go, here's my 2 schools. Okay, now Google doesn't work like that. Yahoo doesn't work like that. Search engines don't work like that. You type in Stanford, it shows you Stanford. You can't put in, I want to look at all these schools that are XYZ 1, 2, 3, show me a list. It doesn't work like that. Okay, so we have a lot of this information housed here. So if this was a school that you click on a specific name, you want to do a little bit more research on them, take a look at their college majors, you want to take a look at their information on the academically on the left side, contact information of the college coaches, links to their staff directories. If you've never heard of this school, well, WashU is one of the best educations in the country, and it's a good team. So you click on the map, pulls up directly in Google. You want to do more research on their website or their team before you email that coach so that you're very personal about the process. Pull that information up, boom, you have that information right there handy. Currently, you have to go to Google, find the website, get to the athletics page, get to the staff directory, put that information into a spreadsheet, control all that in. Crazy. It's crazy. And that's what you have to do. If you notice that there has been a change in a staff, because sometimes that happens, we can't know in real time, simply click on the staffing change button, let us know, we'll verify it, we'll get that change that day. So this database is very current because about 7,000 kids are constantly updating for us and with us. Very important, like I mentioned about the communication with you, reaching out to college coaches. That's why we have and we house all this information right there for you. So who's received ID camp information before? And who has heard, who's looked at it and say, do they know who I am? They put anything personal in it? No, you're shaking your head. Have you ever gotten one of those? Never gotten one?
It wasn't personal. It was just
here, player, come to my ID camp and play in front of me and pay me money. Actually, they won't say pay me money. You know, that would be very tacky. They probably, yes, that would be bad. But the point is that when you get something like that and it's not very personal, what do you do with it? It's like you throw it in the garbage. Like, do they even know who I am? It's the same thing on the reverse side. That's why we have all this information handy for you, direct links there, so that when you research them, contact those schools and you say, hey coach, I'm so-and-so, I played for this program, here's my GPA, I saw that you guys just beat WashU last week, congratulations, hey, good luck on the conference tournament this weekend, I'm really interested in the school. The fact that you just, very quickly, just mentioned a couple things, that coach's ears perk up, you actually know something about their program, they'll take interest in players like that. Same thing, if they wrote me an email and said, hey Greg, saw you at Surf Cup, loved you in the middle of the park, great touch, great vision, I saw both your goals, ping one off the post in the second game, love to get you on campus one more time and get you a final evaluation because I think you'd be a great fit for our program. Would you come to my ID camp? What would you do with that? Yeah, you go. You definitely go. As long as it's a good fit. So, my point is we have this stuff there for you so that way you can be personal about your communication with these schools. If you click on the thumbs up, add button, it'll turn orange. It denotes that that's one of your favorite schools. It saves it here in your My Colleges tab. So that way your family over the dinner table or what have you, parents, you can log in, add some schools, say, hey Johnny, hey Susie, I added 5 schools, take a look at them, what do you think? It's all right there for you. You know what, I talked to this coach at, well, just happened to be UCLA. She was horrible. I hated her. Just get her out of the list. Okay, so you should be adding schools in as you're researching more. As coaches randomly find you on the sidelines of these showcases, there's going to be, hey, maybe I'll research them, add them to your favorites, purge them, add some in. So there should be a little bit of an evolution to the schools that you're looking at. My suggestion is start broad to begin with, especially if you're a freshman, sophomore. And you think about it this way, if you only have 10 schools that you're looking at, very, very normal that if you reach out to 10 schools, maybe you hear back from 5. Okay? Has anybody reached out to a school and not heard back yet? Okay, you have? Okay, so maybe we have a young crowd right now that's not in that process yet, but if 5 of them email you back, so I got 5 schools, and then I go visit one, you know what, didn't love the campus, didn't love the area, okay, that's off the list. Met one coach, didn't really mesh with them, not sure that I fit into their program, their scheme, their style of play, that one's off. This one's too expensive, because if you haven't looked into the cost of schools, some of these schools are costing literally $60,000 a year. $60,000 a year with inflation that's been happening over the last 20 years of about 7%. So 2018, 2017 grads that are about to go to school in a few years, by the time that you get to college and then you spend your 4 years in college, for a school like that, you're going to be tagged with almost a $400,000 bill. Okay, so being able to write a check like that's tough. So players, what do you think you should be doing right now? Doing anything you can, get your grades up, communicating with college coaches, etc., etc. So, correspondence, next tab. This is where you keep track of all of your communication. This is vital. If you want help from your coaches, this is how they're going to know what's going on with your individual process. So that way when they sit down with you, they'll pull up your individual account and they'll be able to see everything that you've been doing. So, left-hand column here, these are all the schools that you have been contacting and communicating with. Click on one of them. It details for you what's happened with each individual school. So important that you know what's going on with each individual college. This is my story from when I was going through the process. I told you I was talking to 55 schools. My mom handed me the phone one day. Said, Greg, here's Coach. I thought I heard University of Incarnate Word. Wasn't talking to University of Incarnate Word. They were based out of Texas. For 10 minutes, I was talking to this coach, trying to convince him that I knew his goalkeeper, that played at my high school, that I described him, and I was from Vegas, and he looked like a surfer, he's got long blonde hair, I'm describing him, he's telling me, Greg, I have no idea who you're talking about. I said, how do you not know your own roster? And, oh, I didn't say that. Okay, it was a little bit nicer than that. But my mom comes running up the stairs with a note, with a piece of paper. I literally can see it vividly in my mind. It says, you idiot, you're talking to the wrong school. To actually have to humble yourself in a conversation and say, oh my gosh, Coach, who am I talking to? Bad idea. Okay? So if I had something I could quickly reference, I was a little bit more organized in the process, those are things that you can help to alleviate. But don't worry, I was actually talking to the Cal Lutheran coach at the time. That's where I went to go play. These guys hear everything coming out of kids' mouths. Don't worry about that. Just keep on moving. All right? To add some new communication, simply click a new button, and let's say it's Occidental, which I'm assuming that nobody's heard of that school from being out here. And that's one of the best schools on the West Coast. So Occidental. Let's say it's this date, email inbound. I'm just going to type some gibberish here. As soon as I hit add correspondence, it tags it right here for me. I can look at each individual school. Wow, Occidental is my #1 choice, and I haven't talked to them in 3 months. Do you think that coach thinks that you're interested in them anymore? If you haven't communicated with them in 3 months or haven't tried to? No, they don't. They probably will be moving on. So you gotta keep at it. Yeah, my word is you gotta be respectfully relentless in this process. All that information, I'll show you how it gets tagged with your directors and how they're going to be able to log in and see that information. That thing that I just added right here, all of my gibberish, on this calendar tab, parents love this because they can log in and visually see how Johnny or Susie's been, what they've been up to over the last few months. Okay? Wow. Johnny keeps telling me that he's really, really interested in playing college soccer. We're all making sacrifices to make this happen for him. And, hasn't done much this month. Didn't do much last month. Maybe I need to have a conversation. Okay? So again, days of, yeah, mom, yeah, dad, I got this, I'm doing it, they're over, I'm sorry, guys. but they need to see this stuff. It's too important. You're talking about $300,000, $400,000 right now. It's too important. Okay. Last tab. Honestly, this is the most underutilized tab, and it's my favorite one. When I was making my decision on where I was going to go to school, I had my 3 schools. It came to Linfield, Callington, and Redlands. Probably schools you guys have never heard of. And I made a T-chart of everything and pros and cons and list, and I kind of compared it side by side, and I just kind of went, I think this one. Okay? It's difficult to apply logic to what can very much be an emotional decision. And what we want to do is have nobody go to a school because their boyfriend is going there. I just had to have that conversation. Do not do that. That's the worst. That's a parent nightmare. Okay? So, looking at this, we can actually take a weighted average of what's important to you. So, who's made a decision on where they're going, or a son or daughter doesn't have to be a soccer player. Did anybody make a decision on where they sent their kid recently? Anybody have a kid in college? Why did they choose where they went?
Academic fit.
Okay, academic fit. Okay, anything else? I mean, so you talked about major, and it was a good school,
Yeah.
and then...
I think it costs a lot, and I think she really liked that.
Perfect. She's sticking to you. Anything she can do, perfect. All right, so love that. So you're hurting. That's great. Okay. All right. Anything else?
Well, it was location, and it was, you know, I mean...
A lot of things. So things that sometimes when a 15, 16, 17-year-old is making a decision, it's tough for, they don't even know why to choose a school. Can I play ball? Do they have my major? They're not writing the check, right? Obviously. So to be able to look at this from a logical standpoint. So the alumni network. We all know the world works off who you know. What about things like that? What about the academic assistance above and beyond a typical student that an athlete gets above and beyond? Because you're on the road, you're flying around, you're taking tests on the road. What about that? I know schools that actually give a free laptop to their athletes along with a personal tutor for every single class. Wow! What school is that? Okay. So to be able to compare apples to apples on these categories. Okay, what about the faculty-student ratio? Maybe my son thrives beautifully in a situation where there's 300 kids in the classroom. Maybe not. Maybe they've got something that, their attention-wise, they got to be in a little bit of a smaller environment. Okay, what about things like that? And then you're looking at the athletic side of things, the quality of the team. Like, you go and play for UCLA, great, you play for one of the best teams in the country, but you sit the bench all 4 years because you're not on the national team. Are you happy? If you went to UCLA, would you be happy? Yeah, you should. What if you didn't play a second? That would not be for me. Okay, but it could be for you. So you can actually tell the program how important it is to you. So in that situation, quality of the team is critical. My ability to make an impact, it's only medium. If I play, if I don't, doesn't matter. I just want to play for a big-time school. Maybe that's you, but it's different from the next player, the next family. This is individualized for you specifically. So you tell the categories how important they are to you, and then you rate each category per, or each school per that category. Talk to this coach on the phone, hate her. She gets a 1. I talked to the Notre Dame, loved her, loved him, he gets a 10. Okay? It actually spits out the, I think, was it UCLA was my number 1, I'm not sure, whatever one. And once you hit save, it recalculates everything. Now Notre Dame is my number 1. So it takes a weighted average of what you personally have interest in, what's important to you, and then your own critiques of these schools based on your experiences, and it tells you where you should be paying more attention to. And then you can compare apples to apples. So, like, sir, in your situation, maybe number 1 was $200,000 out of your pocket. Number 2 was only $50,000 out of you. Maybe you're sending her to number 2. Okay? But finally, we can compare apples to apples because the decision-making process, you can imagine the anxiety that goes into that. So, very, very, very helpful if you use that piece. What I would recommend when you're adding a school, click the Add School button. It automatically adds one there. Just type in the school name quickly. And what I would say, if you just get ID camp information or you're just talking to a school, don't put it on here. This is really for your decision-making process after you've visited campuses. Don't ever go to a school without visiting a campus. Don't ever go to a school without being somewhere, getting to meet the coaches, et cetera, et cetera. So these are like your 5 schools that it comes down to, not just random ones that you heard from 1 or 2 times. Okay? If you have any questions, click on the help link up top. Takes you to the tutorial page. It's my voice. It's boring. I'm sorry. But you literally can't screw up. So we went very slowly, and if you have any questions, I default to this. Then if you have any other questions, get my card, contact us directly, and we'll make sure to help you out. Okay. Click up top. Every player in the club gets a branded player profile for Jaguars. Excuse me. So your colors, your logos, your everything. We want college coaches to know exactly where you play because it's a big deal where you do, where you play. So you can embed your highlight video. You can embed your academics, honors, accomplishments, your transcripts. So you tell a coach that you actually have a 4.2 GPA. They want to probably verify that. Okay, when they're asking you for your GPA, they're not asking you for what you had this last quarter, this last test, this last week. They're asking you for your overall GPA. So they can validate and verify that you in fact have those grades so they don't spend time, and you don't waste time, going after school that you can't get into. So references, your coaches on staff, your directors, contact information, even if they write just a quick blurb about a player. All this information is housed right there so college coaches can get in touch with your directors, your coaches on staff. If you did want to print a PDF, click that. Automatically prints out a PDF of your information in a one-page document, attach it in an email. Or you can print 10 of them out, put them in your bag. Who knows? You meet somebody or you're standing next to the Grand Valley coach at Starbucks after your game because they came and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't talk to you, but here's my resume. Okay? They'll remember you. Go back, email them. I was that kid that couldn't talk to you. So you have this information for you available right here. Okay? Every player has a unique URL that you can copy and paste into an email that you send to a college coach as well, so they can access your information. So I'm going to show you just basic info on how to edit a couple things because there are a couple pieces that you want to just be aware of. Okay? When you log into your account, and everything is detailed in that document that was sent out to you guys, you can log in. It's pretty simple. Just click next to a field and type it in, and it saves it. That's pretty simple stuff. There are a couple pieces that I would say some families have a little bit of issues with on the uploads piece. When you search for your photo and upload that, it's a normal browse situation, but it makes you crop your photo. Because we already have pre-made boxes within our program, within everything that I'm about to show you, it's already done. So if you take a photo that's this wide and then try and put it in a box this small, it's going to squint, it's going to look terrible. We don't want that in the system because it looks bad. So you simply just have to crop your photo. You load it in, click, drag, save, and it's in there. So if anybody wonders why, how come on my brochure is my photo's not showing up because I loaded it in, that's the reason why. And then on the second piece of do you guys know the difference between an embed code and a URL for a video? If not, I got a couple yeses, but I'll just make sure to pull in this information out. So, when you load, I'll just use this Minions trailer, I guess. Okay. When you load your highlight video, if you wanted to load that to your profile, you have to load it to YouTube, and what we're going to do is we're going to grab that embed code. So it's still housed on YouTube, but it's automatically going to populate in your own individual account. So at the bottom, there's a share link. Click that, and then there's an embed code. That's the code that they want. Just simply copy and paste that in here, and when you click on your video tab, it'll automatically show up. College coaches simply push play, and they're watching you score some amazing goals like that. That would be fantastic. So that is what you as families, individual families, have access to. So you have search capabilities, communication tracking, and organization, which is so vital. That's where everything goes haywire for 15, 16, 17-year-olds trying to communicate professionally with these college coaches. And it's unfortunately, girls, you're going to have to pick up the phone and you're going to have to talk to these coaches at some point. So I know the days of texting and everything, but you're going to have to actually pick up the phone and get to know them, because before they actually want you on their team, they're going to need to get to know you over a period of time. Okay? This is what the coaches on staff have access to when they log in. They get to see full list of every single player in the club for the high school age. So let's say you have a conversation with the coach, and like I had mentioned before, saying, hey coach, where do you see me fitting in? And they said, we kind of see you in the D2, D3 realm, and this is where we see. Okay, go back home, put some schools on your list. Perfect. They come back in, check in on you to see did you actually follow through on that conversation. They can log directly into your account, look at your My Colleges, and Boston College, Georgetown, Northwestern, Seattle, Villanova, Creighton, LMU, St. Louis. Probably didn't listen. So what do you think the coach is going to do? Come back out to practice and help guide you in the right direction. Are they saying that you can't go to these schools? That is absolutely not what they're saying. What they're saying is, let's add some other schools that are probably a better target for you academically and athletically, because they are looking at it from an overall fit perspective. Okay? So they might send you back to the drawing board, and quite honestly, they're trying to save you a lot of time. So you can imagine as a freshman, if all of a sudden I'm going in this direction and the gap widens, and I'm a sophomore and the gap widens, and all this wasted time, and I get to my senior year, and if you've only been trying to contact big-time Big 12, Big 10 schools, and it's just not a great fit for you, and you're struggling, you're not getting any a response back, you get to your senior year, you scratch your head and you wonder why. They're trying to help you. They're professionals. Okay? Make sure that you take their words to heart. Not saying that you can't reach for the dreams. That's not what they're saying. You're asking them what's a good target environment for you. Okay? From a team perspective, each team gets a team profile. Before you go to a showcase, each team gets a unique URL. You can send this out to college coaches before your games. So there's 100 college coaches who can be at the showcase. Your job beforehand is, let's get as many college coaches to come watch us play as humanly possible. So if every single kid on the team and the culture of the team is, we're going to make this happen. So you're going to email these schools, and you're going to email these schools, and you're going to email some schools, and you get 5 coaches, and you get 5 coaches, and you get 5 coaches. And we send this out, and we have 45 schools sitting on our sideline. Doesn't that help everybody? Doesn't it build buzz around what we're doing? Absolutely, okay? If the culture of your team is just like, we'll see what happens, okay, you're never going to see any results. Okay, so you can utilize this, send this to college coaches. They can actually peruse each one of the players, watch everybody's highlights videos. Wow, this is a phenomenal team. I'm going to make sure I make a point to go watch them play at my next event. That's what you guys should be doing in this process. Okay? From a search perspective, one last thing I forgot to mention. Okay? You also, and I went over this with managers, that you will be able to get a pre-printed trifold brochure for all of your showcases, so that your managers, you can imagine what managers, the thankless job that they have, and families that they're putting this together in Photoshop and getting all these updates and what's your GPA and everybody's information. It's crazy. And they're trying to make this and get this done for you. It's a thankless job, unfortunately. We will take care of that. So your job is to make sure that you populate your information on your player profile. Go back to the instructions that were sent out by the club. It'll take care of everything. If you have any questions, contact us. Question for players. I want to raise of hands. we're asking you to fill out a player profile. If I'm a college coach, and I look at your information that you're sending out for the showcase, and somebody's coming around and handing out these trifold brochures, and your information is not populated and everybody else's is, are you recruitable?
No.
Does anybody think you're recruitable if you can't fill out basic information on yourself? Does anybody think if you went into a job interview that you wouldn't carry a resume? Okay? These coaches have to know information about you, or you are just purely not recruitable. So your number one job is to make sure you go populate your information, get that done, help your managers out, so when you are out there, everybody looks professional. Because if I'm a college coach, what does that tell me about this player that can't take 5 minutes? It's not going to take 5 minutes, I apologize. Take an hour out of their day, if they really want to play in college, to make a resume that's already pre-made, pre-template, everything for you. What do I think about that player? Lazy. Okay? So, make sure to do it. Okay? Search tab. Your coaches now have access to the same search functionality that you do. So, first thing that you're going to go up to them, because you're probably going to ask for help. You play with this club? You're going to ask for help at some point. And they're going to say, are you on the College Fit Finder? You say, absolutely I am. I live on that thing. Okay? And they log and say, but I'm still kind of struggling with finding a couple schools. Would you mind helping me maybe find a couple, maybe you know a couple schools or maybe a couple good fits? They have the same search functionality and sortability that you do as well, along with the Rolodex of all the coaches in the country, so they can reach out on behalf of you and talk to these coaches on behalf of you to try and tee some things up. So they have access to that information as well. And how this all ties together, why it's so important that you go in and tag your information and your correspondence with these coaches. So as a director or coach on staff, let's say you go up to them and you say, you know what, coach? Whether this has happened with anybody in this room or not, happens all the time, every year, at every club. Coach, kind of upset. How come I'm not getting recruited and everybody else on the team is? We just all went to the movies this last weekend and all the girls are talking about it and I'm bummed out. That's why I play here. And you say, okay, well, hold on. We've done a college night for you. We have ex-college coaches on staff that are always available for you to ask help from. We go to showcases. We've done the College Fit Finder for you. We've done X, Y, Z so that we're progressive in making sure we're investing in your future. And we've given you the roadmap, the blueprint of everything, given you the plan, and you've done 5 things in the last year. The reason why you're not getting recruited and everybody else is because they've got 50 things, 100 things. They are being proactive. You have to be relentless in this process. You have to be relentless in this process. If you want to change your future, you have to be relentless. Okay? And you got to tell all these coaches, come watch you play, come watch you play, come watch you play. Otherwise, why should they watch you play when other kids are doing that and they're showing you, I want to come play for you. I want to play for your school. Okay? So, again, being able to hold players accountable, and then also being proactive. And you saying, oh, great, she followed up with whatever school. Ohio Wesleyan, perfect, that's great. I love that she did that. Or if they want to see, I want to see who in the club's actually talking to, I don't even know if Ohio Wesleyan. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Here's my 5 kids that are talking to Ohio Wesleyan. So next time I'm a staff coach and I talk to anybody at Ohio Wesleyan, I can reference all 5 players, not just one. You can imagine how crazy it is for a director or a staff coach is trying to help you, and he's going to get in a situation where when college coordinator needs 200, 300, how many high school age kids do we have here? 300, 500? It's like, it was huge. It was like 800, I don't know. You can imagine what that's like, and being able to know what's going on with everybody at any given time, very difficult. So add your information in there, and they'll be able to better facilitate the process. But they can even do things like this. I'm going to check this week on who made a phone call to a college coach because I gave a homework assignment. Girls go home, you need to make a phone call to a college coach, and I'm going to check in at the end of the week, see who did it. I can see now. The days of, oh, I did it. No, you didn't. Okay? And I only see 2 or 3 girls that did it. If I'm a coach on staff, I want to walk through fire for those kids. I will make sure they get what they're looking for. But You can imagine what it's like, again, going back to the numbers and what they're trying to do. If you show them that you want this, they are here to help. They are here to facilitate the process. Just make sure you're pulling your weight, because this is about you. Paul, Andy, my playing career is done. I'm 31 now. 31, I'm washed up already. Okay, it happens. It's about the education. Okay, it's about what you have access to above and beyond your playing career. All of our careers will end. Then what? Okay, so very important that you treat it that way. Very important that you look at it from an academic and athletic fit, not just one or the other. And then you go on and you actively pursue something that's going to be an amazing experience for you at the next level. Okay? Going back to what I said before, this is only technology. It will sit there and it will rot. Showed you how you can be way more efficient in your process than what you could do yesterday. This will help. You got to use it. Players, if this is important to you, you've got to use it. If you want staff's help, got to use it. Okay? Go on, fill your information out. If you can't do that, I'd have to ask the question, why do you think that you're recruitable? Okay? Yes?
Are players able to, like, let's say they get an email from a coach through their Gmail account, are they able to move that into your program?
Correct. So that's a great point. I kind of breezed by that. So when you are accessing the information, yes, you have to email from your Yahoo account, your Hotmail account, your Outlook. When you email that coach, simply copy and paste it into the program like I showed you. And the reason why we did that is because college servers are very spam oriented. So if they saw a Yahoo account came through a College Fit Finder server and went to the college, they'd look at that, oh, that's spam. And they'd send it to spam. We don't want that to happen to you guys. So that's why you simply copy and paste it in there. If you have a phone conversation, I've had a phone conversation, type your notes in. I went on a visit. What did I see? What did I like? I love brick buildings and they have modern buildings. I don't know. But just type your notes in. Okay?
Where do you type that
In the correspondence.
at? In the correspondence, okay.
So on this tab, if I wanted to add here, you can add that in this piece right there.
Okay.
So, yeah, just going back on all just questions in just a second, but like I said, I'm just going to just really make sure that you understand this could help change your future. This could help you with getting that 100,000 scholarship that actually sends you to your dream school. It can do that. It can help facilitate the process, but you got to use it. Other than that, I hope I'm on time. Am I on time? Okay, sort of. Do we have questions? Okay. Yes.
Did you have like, or do the coaches from the college have access to come in and search on the team and look stuff up about you?
No. No, they don't have access to dial into your own individual account. Which
Profile, things like that, that would actually.
we're building something that they would be able to do that right now, but even when we do, I don't love the model. I love kids being proactive and going to them, as opposed to just sitting back and waiting.
More like a follow-up to that. Okay, if I contacted them and I sent them a link to something to look at my profile or whatever, that's kind of what.
Oh, like page views?
Yeah.
It's something that's coming down the line, but even at that point, there's a group out there, and why I'm mentioning them in my presentation, like Captain U. Captain U actually has page views, but I've talked to a lot of college coaches that just has their intern logging in, and you see, oh, UCLA looked at my profile 15 times? Fantastic. Well, they were just trying to potentially get your email to send you some ID camp information, potentially. They've never heard of the kid, they don't know who they are, and the intern is just on the program. So it doesn't mean that it can't be valuable. That can be valuable information. You just want to make sure that you don't rely on that completely, even when it's in there.
So that you support doing the print to a PDF file and then having that as an attachment to the email.
You can do that as well, or you can include your link of your URL directly in that.
Okay.
Yes?
What age do you start really sending letters and start trying to contact coaches without wasting their time? You know what I'm saying?
Without wasting that.
You know what I mean? Like,
Well, on
what
the
age are
girls-
they starting to look?
On the girls' side, believe it or not, it's just getting earlier and earlier and earlier. So, like, you take a school, and I apologize for keep using this as an example, but it's just a benchmark. UCLA will soon be done with their sophomore class, meaning that they've already offered out all of their positions and everything's been accepted. So soon, they will only be looking at freshmen. So, because that's how early it's getting it for, I'm just using them as a benchmark. That's not every school, but that is what's happening. It gets earlier and earlier and earlier. On the girls' side, it starts typically 6 to 8 months sooner than on the boys' side. So my suggestion is, when you start, if your daughter's a freshman, she is, then do you have to go gangbusters, pedal to the metal, come watch me play, come watch me play, come watch me? No. But you need to get a good ground base of what schools you should be paying attention to. You need to start getting into the flow of reaching out to colleges on an ongoing basis, because if they're ever going to commit to you, let's say as a sophomore or junior, because they're going to be able to throw a lot of money at you, they need a good solid year of getting to know you, watching you 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And Andy and these guys can speak to that point. It's not just that one time that they come to watch you at that one game you scored that brilliant goal. Okay? They got to come back. Was that a fluke? Was it not? Talk to you. Talk to your parents maybe. Okay? Making sure that over time I can see this kid's a good apple. I don't want bad ones in my program that's going to play what we've done, what we've built. So you can imagine the maturation time of getting to know a player. It takes a while. So if your daughter's a freshman, start now. If they're in 8th grade, you can ask Paul on that one, but I mean, this is my business, and I'd say freshman is day one of your freshman year. So
Yeah, what they need to be doing, especially as freshmen, is seeing schools, seeing it with their own eyes. I think what we run into is we have a lot of kids that they know a college program because they've seen Sports Center and they know game day is going to be at Michigan State in a couple weeks, and that's really cool. Or they have a sibling that goes there, or they like Central Michigan because their dad went to Central Michigan. And that is a lot of, and that's normal, but that's their college background. That's what they know. So then when coaches start talking to them about the process and they start talking about college recruiting, they're behind because they don't know what they want. And so the main thing to be doing even as an 8th grader, as a freshman, is take them to campuses and take them places so they can see what they start to like from an aesthetic standpoint. Do you want to be in the middle of nowhere? Do you want to be in the city? Do you want to be somewhere small? Do you want to be somewhere big? It's easy to say those things. And as 7th and 8th grade, everybody, Greg keeps bringing up UCLA. When we talk to kids, typically, if you talk to a 7th or 8th grade girl, I'm going to North Carolina. And millions of them all over the country are saying the same thing. Why do you want to go to North Carolina? Aren't they one of the best teams ever? Yeah, but have you ever been to North Carolina? No. And they don't know that process. So you just have to be trying to get them and taking them places and looking at college from a standpoint of, do you like this place? And do you like campus? Could you see yourself living here? So those are some of the things besides the recruiting process that you should be doing. Even in 8th, 9th grade, that needs to happen. So that when they start finding out where their level is soccer-wise, and you can start pairing it up with maybe some history of where you've been, then it's a lot easier rather than figuring out soccer-wise where you're at and you've not been to any type of campus. So that should.
If they're not sought on major right now, as a freshman, they're teetering on things.
Yep. If they're a freshman in high school and they don't know what they want to do with the rest of their life, that's not abnormal.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, how do you match that up in a school?
I think just taking them different places so they can just see different types of schools and where they're at, and the big, the small, in the middle of nowhere, an urban setting. Those are type of things that that are I think most important. So. I know we have another group coming in, but Greg's only here for with us now. So, and I don't see a huge line out there, so we can make a couple people wait. Are there any more questions for Greg?
yes,
Is there an app?
not yet. You can use it on your phone. You can. It's just you have to zoom in.